Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and welcome in one and all. Hey, Med, how are you? Are
I
you
was,
getting something new for
I
your
got caught in the
forehead?
middle of I got caught in the middle of a scalp massage before we started, and so I was just,
Oh,
what? Let me just finish it while we here. Sybil Wilkes, I am doing wonderful. Cameron Rowley with the Bald Brotherhood is fully intact. Yes, sir.
well, I'm not
Yes,
trying to
sir.
join the brotherhood. I'll keep my.
Yes,
Oh, there, yeah,
the
okay,
Bald
all right.
Brotherhood is in the building. Yes, sir. Cleanly shaved and highly tanned. Let's
Somebody's been
go,
outside playing.
man.
Yeah, as far as I could make it was to my mother's.
Huh? Oh,
That's why I'm somewhere else. But she meant by the team.
okay. Got you.
Like,
So
sorry for the delay.
you've been out playing softball or something, or piggy one, piggy two, anything like that?
You know how we do it.
Well, I'm glad. And Cameron, how are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. Ironically speaking of softball, the fire department is like playing softball in the park across the street from my house.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
And they got like the fire trucks out there, and yeah, I was like, oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
they got their own hydrants to provide water, so I guess everything's good. But if I know anything about firemen, they'd like a real adult beverage. So go and take them a 12-pack for me, and I'll hit you with that later.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Tell them the fireman's daughter sends her best.
Will
Um,
do.
I love this time of year. I love, like we used to have, I'm sure they still do, man, radio stations and with softball games that they would have throughout the city and playing that. That was a lot of fun.
We don't do it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember those days. I remember, like especially down here in Chicago, in Atlanta, while I was an intern for the radio stations. They did every summer. It was like that, and celebrities would come out. I remember Ryan Cameron used to do them a lot, and they were. That's like the first time I met Sierra. I met like when she was just coming up. It was those were huge events back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to do interdepartmental games when I worked at City Hall. So the different departments. Yeah. After work sometimes. That was great.
And then bragging rights were heavy.
Oh,
Anytime you do that kind of stuff, boy, the mess.
My section of our department was all women, so we had to recruit people from upstairs.
You had to get some ringers.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm talking older women. Like,
so you couldn't even tell like the young ones to bring your boyfriends to the game because they were young walkers.
This was Golden Girls baseball. Like, there's no crying in softball.
Come on, Edith.
What did you say,
girl? Oh, slide, Edith. Oh God! Somebody help Edith up.
That's not a pretty slide there, Edith.
Oh God!
That's a funny bit in my head. I don't
know
where that goes.
Yeah.
So everybody seems to be in good spirits. Damon, you are preparing to take off for going to Martha's Vineyard.
Well, certainly I will be doing the Vineyard in August, but prior to that, I'll be on the Festival at Sea, which leaves on the 12th. Yeah, so that's 8 days. Come home for a couple of days, then we right back out. But it's that season. It's time for me to get moving.
Good for you. I hope the weather is cooperative. I don't know. Where do you guys go? Where do you travel this year?
Starting in San Juan, Florida, San Juan, I think St. Martin, that Caribbean route.
Yeah, because Beryl, and I was going to talk about her. She not playing.
Yeah, well, she got a couple weeks to get her life in order. Well, not even a couple. I guess that's next week.
Yeah,
next week. Yeah. I think it should be good by next week. My concern is like from the morning show, Kyle. He was supposed to go on vacation Saturday, so we're in Jamaica. So it's like I told him to call his travel agent and see what we can do about that because, we're on hiatus until the 15th. And so it's like, maybe you can move it back a few days, because we were discussing it in the lunchroom today about how Jamaica has always kind of, since the 80s, kind of bypassed any major, situation.
Or they have bypassed Jamaica.
Yeah, the hurricanes have kind of always missed the island, and so
that much.
Yeah, and so it'll be like you'll see the devastation everywhere else. I'm like, you haven't seen that in Jamaica in decades.
But they're talking about Jamaica today.
Yeah, they are. I know. So we're doing our check-ins with the family down there and everything like that. And they're all set and ready, and they're good to go. They say.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
and
happens.
Clearly, you're a producer, not a radio personality, because radio personality would have been like, you hope Kyle goes down there and gets stranded so you can get that slot. Or their personality, like, yeah, Kyle, fly down there to the hurricane.
The good old plotting every single day. Let me get hey, you not feeling good? Stay home.
Right. Yeah.
I got you.
I made you some soup. Try that.
There might be a young intern just going, Mr. Med, can I do anything for you?
Right. Hop on the mic. We need you. That's it. All it takes. Really, it does.
That's funny. That's good. Well, be careful of the weather, and wherever you are, wherever you go, if you're in the Caribbean, and they're talking about this hitting a part of Mexico and then making its way up through the Gulf to Texas, perhaps by the time. And Beryl's pretty tough chick. She's at Category 5 right now.
Yep, Cat 5.
Mm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, she has a great travel agent.
So I have a friend, and he and his lady friend have been planning to go on this vacation, and she wanted to go to Barbados. And the first time they didn't make it. The second time the plane left, their flight connecting them to Miami left without them. This week actually was going to be their trip to Barbados.
Mm.
And I said,
cursed.
If you don't believe in signs,
it's cursed. Don't go.
This is then go on. But somebody's trying to tell you something.
Some people define their lives by that frequent opposition that enables them to quest and overcome the hurdle more.
Oh yeah, I have people like that in my life. Yes.
Yeah, I'm usually of the opinion where if it's meant to be, the universal hand deliver it to you. It'll make it easy.
You want a hand delivery? Okay.
Yep. Boom.
Well, it sounds like to me they need to go to Stony Island.
Yeah.
For those who don't know around the country, that's the Avenue in Boulevard in Chicago. That's as far as they need
Chicago
to go.
talk. Sorry, David. Too much Chicago talk.
I clarified it.
Stock up on
reached our quota.
Yes, I don't know. Let's talk about what's going on in the little What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday effort to super serve the African American community. We give you stories that you may not get in a lot of places. Sometimes when we do, we try to give it from a perspective on how it affects Black folks, especially. And this is absolutely free. We'd love to have you subscribe. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday. We're coming up on a holiday, so we're trying to get a lot of stuff done. But young Khameron writing about in the wake of the Biden debate fail, the vice president is being shaded. What that look like, Khameron?
Yeah, Sybil, say what you want about Joe Biden's debate performance. Say what you want about whether or not you think he should step aside. But the thing that I am tired of people saying or mentioning is every other candidate to take his place except for the most qualified person in the entire administration, which is the vice president. On paper, via resume and per line of succession, Kamala Harris is the most qualified person to take Joe Biden's place, should he step aside, even though he's obviously not going to. Mm-hmm. This is, for me, this is just another incident of many as to why Black people distrust democracy, why there's distrust in the Democratic Party. People are bringing up, Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, Ben Shapiro, just like other white men.
Gretchen Whitmer is one, governor of Michigan. But I gotta disagree with you, Khameron. I have not seen a poll. I have not seen I have not heard a conversation in which her name has not been mentioned. As a matter of fact, Thursday night after the debate, she was the first person that they pushed out there to defend the president without any talking points or anything. She came up with the talking points, as a matter of fact, that you heard a lot of in the days following the debate.
Yeah, and I thought like putting her on debate cleanup duty and then like without mentioning her as the replacement candidate or as the most viable replacement candidate was just very disrespectful. Clearly we were in two different camps because a lot of the camps that I was listening to were not even like floating her or just considering her the most unpopular of all the other tentative candidates. And I just didn't think that made a lot of sense to me at all. I think that if anyone is qualified to run the country right now, it's probably Kamala. It makes the most sense financially. She'd have access to all of Biden's campaign funds.
Yeah, she would be the one. She would be the one. Yeah. Because she's on, her name is on the title.
On the title, it's right there.
Yeah, indeed. So they would have those funds would go to her, Kamala Harris for president, and fill in the blank, there as the VP.
Cameron, do you think that Kamala Harris's popularity has risen or decreased since becoming MVP?
In my opinion, I think it's been pretty shaky.
Yeah.
I think that she got dealt I think that she was underutilized for like the first 100 days or so, being in charge with the protection of the border. Eventually, she kind of found her niche, raising money for HBCUs, bringing executive Black influential voices to the Capitol to sit in on conversations. She began renewing partnerships with the Afro-Caribbean nations. She also began
let's not forget about women's reproductive rights.
Yes, doing the foreign policy tour, championing abortion, doing a lot of speaking engagements. She had that very strange interview with Drew Barrymore. I don't know.
Yeah, they do that stuff, and it's always a fail for me.
Every Drew Barrymore interview is strange, and
Drew was like sitting like this.
She does that everything. She's right here.
She's right. Her face is right in the camera. Yeah.
And be poking their nose and stuff. It's very weird. But yeah, I agree with Sybil because they did the same thing with the BET Awards. I'm just like, can we stop doing these? Can we please stop doing these?
It was the NAACP Image Awards. Remember they did it then, and they tried again.
It doesn't work, and it never sounds right. Oh my God.
Well, sure, because you got Taraji, who's being Taraji, and you got Vice President Harris trying to be cool and down and stuff, and they're not really talking to each other. They're talking at each other and put those pieces together.
Get these points together, folks.
It's akin to. Do you guys remember when they had President Obama do Between the Palms interview with the white comedians?
Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis. Yeah. That was just awful.
But but that's the point of Between Two Ferns.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be that.
But it was supposed to be right. But it was more than what you ever saw before. It was weirder and more awkward than anything that had ever happened before.
It's Obama.
It was like he was getting interviewed by Borat.
Right.
But like, to be honest, like going back to Obama, like him doing the stuff with Jimmy, I think it was Jimmy Fallon, where he had the speaking, like doing the news.
Yeah, jazz in the news.
In the news, like stuff like that. Like that stuff was funny. You know what I'm saying? And it made it, but it's like when they do like the whole Super Bowl stuff and like surrounding big events, especially Black events, it's just like, it just reminds me of the Black McDonald's commercials. It's just like, hey, for the Black people, this is what we got for you.
Yeah, very.
What they're trying to do, I think, is to do what Arsenio did so brilliantly 30 years ago with Bill Clinton, and just let him play his saxophone, and made him seem very approachable, real, and with the brothers with the sax. And they tried to revisit that, term after term after term, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But they go along. Well, what the hell? What do we got to lose? And I think got a lot to lose, especially in this case. But the one thing that I will say, about the vice president is that I think she lost a lot when people were giving her a hard time for her career as a prosecutor and the charges and the arrest against Black people for possession of marijuana.
It was a wrap after that.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, like when, like I told people a long time ago when they were trying to find an Obama moment a while ago with Kamala Harris. When I saw Kamala Harris and I saw how when she got the seat, I was like, I really hope they don't rush her. Right. You know what I'm saying? I wanted Kamala Harris to be a senator for a while. I wanted her name to start bubbling up after this term. Like I'm like, okay, after this term, her name to start bubbling up. But when I saw her, they rushed her into the seat. I'm like, she needed a few Jasmine Crockett moments in the Senate. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. To kind of ingratiate herself to the people, because people really do like Jasmine Crockett. Now,
they love her. Yeah.
I'm not talking about Jasmine Crockett going to be running for president, but what I'm saying is Kamala Harris needed that time.
But right, and so now the conversation, I'm assuming I've spoken to the Congresswoman, but we've not had this conversation. But I'm thinking, like, when she goes out to Hollywood or she's on C-SPAN and all the big money people are going, name your seat. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? The world is, your oyster. You go in, which the vice president didn't get.
She did not get that. She got pushed out there, and then you pile on, like you said, her record, and then Black folk took a hold of that and they started slamming her for that. Yeah. I was like, because Cameron, that was when I read your story, I was like, there's a reason why, because she's not popular. like people do not like Kamala Harris for different reasons, and they're using that against her. And she just never, like you said, she just never had a shot, in my opinion.
Well, I think we're narrowing this focus and the scope of voters, because of course, Black people are upset about her being a prosecutor, but the moderates and the conservatives are law and order types. So that should be a feather in her cap if she were to push that without alienating herself.
Not with Donald Trump. Because there's nothing a Black woman can do for Donald Trump.
But I'm saying to people that have sense, that are Republicans.
Okay.
No, they are Republicans. They might have been MAGA the first time around, but they see him deteriorating mentally and his dictatorship and all these things that they're concerned about. There are some closeted people that might want to drift this way, and they might be more inclined to do so to a law and order former prosecutor versus an ailing older man. So we could see some slippage there from his support.
And the other thing I was thinking about, Khameron, I was reading, and perhaps it's indicative of the president's condition, that she wasn't allowed to kind of stay under the radar and pick her spots and where she could do her best work, or she could present the administration best, because she was pushed out there when he couldn't. When he could not go. I mean, even when you talk about marijuana, he was not for the legalization of marijuana for the longest time until this term. Right. He looked at it and I don't know if it's as a result of family stuff or what, but that was a part of his family history, and still viewed it as a gateway drug. And so that along with her position formerly as a prosecutor, that you're just losing. It's just a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, I agree with you and Med, definitely. I think that she needed time to almost rebrand herself from being a career politician.
Yeah.
And she really didn't get that. I've never seen a vice president treated just this strangely.
You've never seen a Black woman as vice president before.
Clearly, right? Clearly.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that's funny.
No, saying.
But
I'm just saying that the identity is very important here. Is they pushed her out there and then they didn't know what to do, and her career is in this very strange place because of it. Almost pigeonholed into this very strange place. And part of me hates to see it because I'm rooting for everybody Black, but also me being me, I don't like any career politician.
Right.
Point blank period.
So. And one of the sad things, I've been reviewing the 7 seasons of The West Wing, which is incredibly timely. incredibly timely right now. But one of the things that I would love to see her have the luxury of time to do, and I don't know that she has it, is if they get through this next term, as president and vice president, that she has the years to kind of go back and repurpose herself, if you will, or to recharacterize who she is, or reform something, and find that person that is comfortable within herself as well as comfortable with the public. But I
think
don't think she's going to have the luxury.
deserves that. Yeah,
She does.
But and to Cameron's point, I don't think they gave too much props to Dan Quayle.
That's the other name that I was thinking about. Yep. Yeah, they never. I mean, the man couldn't spell potato, so
Right.
that. And we love to but they just loved.
I think we should all go back and watch Veep.
That's another one. Yeah.
That is the show,
yeah.
man.
I remember that show. Yeah.
But when you watch Veep, then you'll understand why the vice president is treated as such, because the position is treated like a joke. Unless they're really grooming that person for office, then it's really like a ceremonial position. So she got an uphill battle, that's for sure.
Yeah, and they threw in there, and they told her to be a face of something. It's like, wait a minute, that's not my job. My job is to be in the background, and you don't hear from me until 4 years
time for a funeral, and then it's time for me to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. And with West Wing, their tip of the hat to the minority was a Hispanic male becoming president. There are no black women, and when they were really under the radar, or they were so aggressive that they were poorly characterized and poorly written, just like they are here. So that is what's in the newsletter. Also check out CPA to the Stars, Katrina Kraft, and her column on Tuesdays, as well as The Jewel, which we'll come to in a little bit, and Black Health Matters and things like that. Let us move on to what's really going on. And this is in reference to a story that is in the What You Need to Know newsletter today. Coy Malone, who's our social justice contributor, writes about an entry to an advice columnist. A New York college student from the suburbs of San Francisco wrote to Amy Dickinson, the Ask Amy column. She's like the new school Dear Abby or Dear Ann Landers, in the Oregonian newspaper, to ask for advice on a topic that people outside of the Black community tend to dismiss. The college student invited their best friend, who is Black, to visit over the summer. However, the reality of a Black man walking through the suburbs of San Francisco stirred some concerns for the Black students' safety. In a time where people of color, especially men, are having the police called on them for everything from waiting for a friend in Starbucks to taking a nap in a common area of a dorm building, I'm worried about my neighbor's potential reaction to a man of color showing up in their predominantly white suburb, the student wrote. He also mentions posting about his friend's visit on nextdoor.com. Do you all know what nextdoor.com is?
Yep.
It's the neighborhood newspaper.
Like
people write,
Watson.
have you been to so and so? I'm looking for somebody, to clean up my shrubbery, and I gave him a check, and I haven't heard from him. That kind of stuff.
Have you seen this dog?
Right. Asking people to think twice before panicking, but doesn't want to offend anyone because the area is regarded as liberal and progressive. Well, it can't be that liberal or progressive if he's concerned about his Black friend and his safety. He goes on to mention they have never witnessed racist incidents, but are aware of incidents in similar communities. So she responded, and I'm just curious how you all might respond to that question, and opening this up to our audience as well. How do you respond to this white kid saying, I'm afraid to invite my friend, and I feel like I need to warn my neighbors, as it were, so that for my friend's safety's sake. I remember having a white friend, and they lived in Beverly. And sorry, Chicago reference, Yolanda.
It's how you said, I remember having a white friend.
I remember I had a white friend. At one time, I had more white friends. I had one white friend, in Morganburg Academy. But the family was moving, and they sold their house to a Black family. Oof. And the mother felt as though she had to go to all the neighbors and tell them that they had sold their home to a Black family. I was like, can I go? My mother's like, "You get your ass back over here." But that's what it reminded me of. Warning the people, or as it were, or in the guise, under the guise of, I'm trying to help my friend here.
Being somebody who grew up ruining a neighborhood. There goes the neighborhood. And, in 1986, when we moved to a suburb of Chicago from New York, as black family, that when we became the second black family to live, to move into the street. It's one of those situations where I luckily didn't see none of it. You know what I'm saying? I went out and played with the white kids, and we were fine. We had no problems. I was in their homes, very nice people. I had no issues. But I do know of those some neighborhoods is when they see black people, it's like, what is going on? Because in the same neighborhood where I moved back to when I was older, a black family moved into a house 2 doors down from us, and this man didn't have a car, and he sat in front of his garage, and he was cussing and smoking, and the other white neighbors came to my house and asked us to talk to him. It's like, we don't really, he's not like y'all. And I'm like, really? Okay. So would you like, do you think? And I'm just like, let me tell you something. If we go over to that man right there, he'll cuss our asses out as well. So I'm just like, there's nothing. I can't tell that grown man what to do. What are you talking about? What I'm saying? And that's how they're going to react. So there is that level of, black people in the neighborhood, be cordial, do your thing, but don't act too black, please. That is a thing. Now, for this person that's talking about this friend that's coming over, first of all, your friends shouldn't be walking around the neighborhood by themselves, honestly, because one thing is if it's a strange neighbor, if a neighbor's going to say, I don't know who that is. Right. Why are they walking around here? You know what I'm saying? And that could be black people, because black people be looking around. Have you ever seen this person before? Who the heck is this? You know what I'm saying? So antennas will go up regardless if it's a stranger. A black stranger, antennas is gonna go up. People will call the police. Mm-hmm. Police will ask questions. So your friend should not be walking around this white neighborhood that they do not live in by themselves. Just, I'm gonna walk around the neighborhood for a little bit. No, you better walk with him or her, whatever the case may be. So this is, it's a race issue, yes, but also it's a stranger issue. Who the hell is that? Mm-hmm. That's damn near any neighborhood that you go into, black, white, whatever. Who's a stranger that keeps walking around? Questions will be asked,
especially if he brings his pit bull with him. Damon.
Yes.
What do you think?
My take on it. Well, first of all, the suburbs of Oakland. I've walked around the suburbs out there, and the people are pretty cool.
The suburbs of Oakland, I think, are different from the suburbs
of San Francisco. I'm sorry. Yeah. Which is in between, which is like Pleasanton and that area up there. There's some lily white enclaves there. Yeah. But I didn't encourage anybody being racist or being shocked to see a black man. And I was the only one sometimes. But other than that, I do have a friend who swears that she's not racist, but always sees things. Because she's dating a black guy. She's like, and I already told the neighbors that he's going to be coming in and out the house. Like she really felt that's what she had to do. Mm-hmm. You ever have racist friends that they're not maliciously racist, but they're racially insensitive because they're unaware, or they're so in a racist bubble that they have to try to decipher their lack of racism in their expression of racism.
Yeah.
Okay. Young Khameron, have you come across this in your college days, or?
I remember when I was like in high school, a friend of mine, very, very, very wealthy friend, who had like a summer house in Nantucket, like took me there with like him and his family, and I didn't really think anything about it. There have been times where I've been to like small towns or certain places where I'm the only black person, and like the energy in the room shifts. So I can totally identify with that happening. But to this particular friend, I would say, hey, it's a good thing that you're being concerned, but like, check your savior complex for a second, because to Damon's point, if you front load a lot of anti-racist stuff, it could inadvertently provoke a racist reaction.
Yeah.
So be careful what you're trying to avert.
Right, exactly. Because people are gonna, just get a little antsy anyway. You
Well,
telling them that
but
you're,
they-
that you're bringing your friend over, they may think that this friend is like an ex-con for real, because you had to warn them
Right.
about it.
Yeah, it's like having a predator show up. But it's funny though, even when they're trying not to be racist, they always ask you, "So, what brings you to town?" That ain't none of your damn business. But they would definitely ask you that.
Yes.
They have no problem asking you, but that just shows the rarity of Black people around them. So they like, clearly something brought you here, because what are you doing? Yeah.
I hope your friend's boyfriend says a white woman. When they stop him as he's ambling around the street. So we're interested in what, if people have had this experience, and or how would you have responded in the Dear Amy role? And I will read her response as well. Dickinson responded by pointing out that the college student seems to be more concerned about offending the neighbors than the risk of his friend and what he faces while walking through the neighborhood alone. She also made two suggestions: challenging neighbors to let Black men walk through the neighborhood unchallenged because he is a human being walking down a sidewalk, and to warn their friend about the potential physical or psychological annoyance they could face by being there. So we're asking our viewers and our listeners today, what do you think of Dear Amy's advice, and what would you advise? Um, I would do what I heard has been done in one neighborhood with a young Black boy going to visit a white girl, and they just drove him around in a golf cart. Just, he's with us, and nothing makes you feel like you're more of the community than riding around in a golf cart, I guess. But it seems
until somebody says, "Hey, where'd you get that golf cart?"
Right. Right. Man.
When I was in the vineyard, I was in a canoe, and they was like, "Hey, where'd you get that canoe?" Because one of ours came up missing. But that's not it. That's not the one. Swear to God. Swear to God. They rode over to me to ask me where I got it, but they said, "But that's not it." I'm like, "I know it's not it."
So what's your point? Did they ever do that with the bicycles, Damon?
No, not with the bike. Not with the bike. Definitely, because we do bikes. We're not prone to be canoeing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Black man canoe, suspicious.
Very
Black
suspicious.
man on water.
Right. Even to the Black people, they're like, "Yeah, where the hell did you get that canoe?"
And why were you in it? Why were you in it, Damon?
And right after they left, it capsized, and I had a whole ordeal with that. I don't know if you remember that, Sybil. Yeah, it capsized. I was trying to take a photo, and then I had to swim to shore because I was trying to bring the canoe back, and I didn't want to get it lost because I thought it might affect the deposit for the house rental. But I couldn't do both, so I made it back. But now I'm shirtless, and I had to take the shoreline through these backyards, shirtless, looking like a slave running through the field in the woods. It was a thing, man. And all this time,
a Tony Curtis movie.
all of this time, none of my friends in the house were looking for me, and I was gone for a long time. Like, y'all didn't even check for me. I see a canoe out there upside down. It was a story for sure.
Oh my God! And you always have great stories, but that was crazy. It's one of the craziest I've ever heard.
It was crazy, cutting through those people's yards shirtless, because my stuff was wet, and I looked like the bloodhounds were chasing me.
One of them got loose.
We're trying to get off the water, Miss Daisy. Oh my God!
You said one of them got loose.
One of them got loose. Lock the door. I don't know what the hell he's doing. It's a wet Black man. Whenever you see the Black man come out of water, what is going on?
Barefoot and wet, because my flip flops also stayed in the water. So,
oh my God, barefoot, wet, shirtless.
Shirtless.
You had a whole strip of houses. Lock the doors.
Which they never do.
Oh my God.
Woo,
Oh my God.
Wow.
I wonder what the signal is for that. Is it like the bat signal? Everybody just looks up and then they know to lock the door. Lock the door. Click,
Lock
click,
the
click,
doors.
click, click, click.
We don't know what the heck is going on back there.
That's
That
crazy.
is crazy.
That is crazy.
Oh man.
That's wild.
Wow. Well, that was fun for me. I always love coming in on one of Damon's stories. Anyway, I can't wait for this summer to have more tales from the vineyard.
Indeed.
Let's move to trending topics, shall we? Damon, you mentioned that you're going to be out on Festival of the Seas, and that is how long? Is that a week-long trip?
It's 8 days, and that leaves on the 12th. But this weekend I'm home. I'm doing riddles with Leon Rogers for his birthday.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
Leon Rogers and
Yeah.
comedian. I have to mention comedian Reverend Stefan. It's also his birthday, and this is like the 5th or 6th annual for Leon. And then I'm doing tomorrow. I'm doing the little downtown. It's the last of a series at the Time Out Marketplace, and then July 9th I do the City Winery. Then I'm gone, Chicago. That's a wrap. Or everybody that's coming into Chicago to keep this story national. You can. I'll be moving around after that. From there all the way, next time I'll do something, it'll probably be August, September in Chicago.
Wow. And who else is going to be at Riddles? Anybody you can give us a sneak peek?
Oh, coming for Kevin Tate, who's a really funny brother. He's been on a lot of stuff. He's very funny. Kevin Tate is coming. I'll still be here. I'll be able to tell him. I'm not going to leave you guys. Yeah.
Thank you. We don't have to send an APB out for you.
You might.
Look for a capsized boat.
It might be the captain's reception on a Tuesday. And I'll be like, what time is it? That's one of the only times you get free drinks. You don't miss those receptions.
That's true. That is very true. Ned, we talked about this a little bit before. Have you checked on your peeps in Jamaica?
Yeah, my aunt, my uncle are all right. I have another. I have one aunt that lives more inland. But when it comes to hurricanes, if it hits, doesn't matter where you are on the island, is gonna affect you. So everyone seems to. They've dealt with this so many times that it's just like we're more concerned than they are about the situation. So we'll see what happens. We track it. My father, I'm gonna go. Actually, after this, I'm gonna go see him, and I already know I'm gonna have to sit down because he's gonna have a lot to say when it comes to things like this. So it's everyone seems to be cool. We're more concerned than they are about it. So we'll see what happens.
And Khameron, if I'm not mistaken, you were just in Jamaica earlier this year, right?
Oh, yeah, in March. We caught it like right before the spring breakers kind of arrived and took over. It was beautiful. It was very nice. Weather was perfect all day, every day.
And my wife was there 2 weeks ago for her birthday.
There you go. Yeah.
With her sister. So yeah, I mean, it's just when it comes to the Caribbean, it could be beautiful one day and then hurricane the next. You just never know. You never know when it's going to start.
So Hurricane Beryl is what we're talking about, and hurtling towards Jamaica as a major hurricane after ripping through southeast Caribbean, roared through the open waters today as a powerful Category 4 storm. After making landfall in the southeast Caribbean, Grenada was one of the Grenadian islands. The hurricane warning was in effect for Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman.
Oh no!
Yeah, big and little. I'm sorry, Grand and Little, Cayman, Brac, and for Haiti's entire southern coast. Haiti just can't catch a break. And Dominican Republic, too, when you think about it, since they're right there sharing the same island. Beryl was forecast to start losing intensity today, but still be near major hurricane strength as it passes over Jamaica early tomorrow, near the Cayman Islands Thursday, and into Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula on Friday, according to the National Hurricane Center. So everybody's got somebody or knows or remembers an area where they could be under hurricane alert. And soon, we'll be taking up those collections for people, because where else can they go, especially at this state of the stage of the hurricane. So wishing and praying for the best. This has been interesting. And I don't know if any of you have been affected by the scourge of Alzheimer's disease, but an Alzheimer's drug was approved for sale by the FDA. Today, the Food and Drug Administration approved a new Alzheimer's treatment called donanemab, clearing the way. It's DONANEMAB, clearing the way for the third addition to a new class of drugs aimed at slowing the brain's decline in patients already facing the early stages of Alzheimer's. It's branded as Kisunla by the drug maker Eli Lilly. The approval follows years of setbacks and delays in getting the experimental Alzheimer's treatment to market, despite what they described as promising clinical trials. And Eli Lilly says the drug will be available within weeks following the approval, which came today. It's going to be interesting to see because they do have test cases and clinicals and things like this. But this is one of those drugs that I don't see a lot of people saying, I don't want to be a part of their test case. I don't want to be a guinea pig, because people who have seen it or are going through the long goodbye of Alzheimer's, a lot of people saying, yeah, I want it. I've got, what else do I have to lose? Which is a lot of people are saying. And
you could give it to people who have it and they won't know anyway.
I had to let you break first.
That's a terrible. It's a terrible condition, and it's one of the cruelest things that can happen to a loved one when they don't recognize you. Even the early signs, the early onset, when you have to keep repeating certain things, or they start telling you the same story.
Right.
You know, so I pray after the joke, yes, that this is very promising, because I'm forgetting a lot of stuff myself. I'm not wishing it on me, but yeah, let's get this one done.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is another story. You know, we do Black and Missing on Wednesdays, but I do want to mention this today and tomorrow about the Chicago woman still missing in the Bahamas. Her family is pleading for more support from the American government. 41-year-old Taylor Casey was last seen June 19th at a yoga retreat on Paradise Island in the Bahamas. The person that owns the retreat said, a young lady called me and said, have you heard from Taylor? And I'm like, I'm looking at the phone because I know this. She was from the yoga retreat. And then the mother had the same kind of experience, someone asking her if she had seen Taylor. And she's like, Taylor's there in the Bahamas. I'm in Chicago. Her mother is Colette Seymour. She said Taylor has not shown up for yoga classes. Her mother traveled to the retreat last week, but said her visit was deeply unsettling. She had to beg to talk to students at the retreat and said it felt like they were told what to say and what not to say. Her mother also said she did not see any missing person posters, despite authorities saying that they've spoken to a number of people, deployed drones, divers, and a canine unit. The mother said it feels like the bare minimum. And without the U.S. government support, we may never find out what happened to my Taylor. Police said they found her cell phone in the ocean last week. The family said authorities refused to turn over the phone, and one of the retreat participants who the Find Taylor Casey team spoke to said Casey was approached while sitting alone on the beach by a stranger the same day she was last seen. The man was wearing a Celtics baseball cap and dressed all in black. He claimed he was from Chicago and was interested in taking a yoga class. He proceeded to follow her onto the property, according to the website created to help find Taylor Casey. The greatest fear of ever. We're talking about Alzheimer's, but just as far as the disappearance of someone, and no one has answers. The Bahamian police are not helping, or at least they don't seem to be giving the help that her family says that they need or that they feel comfortable with, and got a call for the American government to come in there and to help find this young woman. And it's just tragic.
Yeah, we already know if it was what was the Holloway girl, it was an international story.
Still 10, 15 years, 20 years later.
Yeah, it's unfortunate how Black women are devalued when it comes to these type of circumstances.
On a lighter note, gentlemen, I have a question to ask of you. Are there microplastics in your penis?
Yes. I consult with them.
You consult with the microplastics?
That's a hell of a segue.
You all don't talk to your microplastics? I do. Daily.
I mean, before I was married, I definitely used microplastics.
I don't know my level of microplastic, but it's a lot of lotion.
Okay, and that may be where the microplastics are coming from.
It's never ashy. I can tell you that much.
That's nice.
As a married man,
I asked for this.
I guess micro and also micro in that area should never be used. I apologize.
Micro or plastics.
Use macro plastics.
Well, maybe this is only for a certain area.
Yeah, I prefer the term jumbo plastic if you're gonna talk to me.
Jumbo.
A study published this month in the International Journal of Impotence Research found that, as far as researchers can tell, the first detection of microplastics in penises. This is the breakdown of products of plastics in your daily lives that are smaller than 5 millimeters. Once again, talking size and reassuring people that that doesn't matter. And you think about the residue from water bottles, food containers, and they say that the microplastics can enter the human body through ingestion, inhalation, and skin contact. They're present in your air, your water, and your food, especially in items like seafood, sea salt, and bottled beverages.
Wait, seafood?
Seafood.
Yeah.
Sea salt.
Like as in shrimp?
Well, did they do a study on women?
No, this is only regarded to impotence in males.
Everyone's got like a debit card worth of microplastics inside them.
Yeah, I know. When I saw that,
it was uncomfortable.
It's true, though.
Yeah. And they was all mad when Nelly swiped their credit card in that video.
It's tip drill a whole new meaning.
Oh, the tip drill. But I did see a story about that. I thought it was in our testicles. I didn't know it was also in the shaft and such. So
and such.
Wow.
Yeah.
Either area is problematic.
All respect to Richard Brown.
Well, it depends. Though, if you're trying to shoot the club up, but you don't want to have no kids, get that plastic in you. They're already abolishing abortion. Maybe microplastics is the answer.
Wow.
No, but you said impotence, not reproductive. Yeah.
No.
I retract that statement.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. Is it a good thing? Wait, hold on. Go ahead.
No, this is from a clinic that studies impotence and helps men with their impotence. But it has also come about in men who are not necessarily impotent, who have volunteered to be case studies for this, because they say the tiny particles can travel through the bloodstream, accumulate in various tissues, including the penile tissue.
We're not mature enough to be doing this story. Can we go?
Here we are.
I know you're not, and that's why I love doing it.
Right, we try. I'm gonna keep drinking water till I grow a shell. Then when you get old, you don't have to take Cialis because you already rock. You know what I'm saying? You're good.
We're all plastic.
Oh gosh.
This is my favorite time of year. Is I'm trying to do a Olympics tribute or Olympic story every day, and in our salute to the Olympics, we now give I guess a tip of the old watch or clock to the Hall of Fame rapper and iconic member of Public Enemy, Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy, has signed an unprecedented 5-year sponsorship deal as the official hype man for the U.S. water polo women's and men's national teams.
Makes sense.
It makes sense to somebody. It marks a unique fusion of music, entertainment, and sports, aiming to elevate the visibility and excitement surrounding water polo in the United States. And he will make a financial contribution to the 2024 women's water polo Olympic team, demonstrating his commitment to supporting these elite athletes as they strive for Olympic gold in Paris. And he has a great deal of respect and says that he's also going to send each of them on a cruise.
That's so nice. More water.
Didn't he also just sign some type of deal with Red Lobster to have a Flavor Flav meal? I just saw the headline.
Trying to save Red Lobster, baby. That my guy. My guy.
Because men has made them fall into bankruptcy.
Well, now we know it was more of just like the mass privatization of Red Lobster, and then like the irresponsible handing over of it to a company who was a wholesale shrimp distributor who pumped the endless shrimp deal just so they can buy more shrimp from themselves. which caused the.
But it's much
the
funner
dash.
when you say that Med was the cause of it.
Yeah. I think only Beyonce can save her life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But let me just talk about water polo for a second.
Yes, please.
Right. You know, coming from that area where I was the token, now I didn't play water polo, but we had a water polo team.
Oh,
and let me just tell you something. They are athletes, okay? Because you actually playing a game where you could die if you get too tired in the pool.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, especially if you're the goalie, you're just treading water.
You're just treading water the whole.
You can't sit back. You can't. There's
no break. Yeah. Your legs are all going left and right just to stay afloat. And now you're trying to go get a ball and shoot. You could die in water polo. You need to be an athlete.
And there are Black women who are incredible athletes doing just that on these teams, and they have.
Maybe water polo.
Absolutely, you have to be an athlete to be a water polo athlete. Absolutely,
and it's not Marco Polo, but it's pretty tough.
It is soccer in the water, and it's aggressive. It's aggressive.
It really is, and impressive.
Very much so.
Moving to entertainment, someone who was not impressive was Angela Simmons. She said she made a poor decision in bringing a certain purse to the BET Awards Sunday night. At the ceremony, the daughter of Reverend Run, Joseph Simmons, carried what looked like a green gun-shaped clutch to match her dress and pointed at people. She apologized for her purse in a message on Instagram on Monday. She said, "When I chose the purse, I believed that it was cute and unique, and I made a poor decision using it as an accessory to amplify my beauty." That's what happens. You use purses shaped like guns to amplify your beauty. I deeply regret that this item, which symbolizes a gun, it doesn't symbolize a gun. It was a gun.
It was
in the shape of a gun.
That's what it was.
She said, realized it was inappropriate and insensitive, especially given my personal and community experiences with gun violence. Yeah, your boyfriend was killed.
I was about to say, how does your son feel about this?
Right. You left the house and said, "Honey, how does mommy look?" "Mommy, put the gun away."
Like, what are you doing? your son's father was murdered and
outside of your house in Atlanta.
So what are we doing? What are we doing? Rev, go get your dog.
Sound like she need a real gun.
Okay.
Maybe she thought she was going to the Source Wars.
That was my thought too. It sounded like she was just
Cameron, the Source Awards was an award show based on a magazine, the Source Hip Hop magazine, and it was super rowdy
and violent oftentimes.
Yes.
They'd have a fight and an award show broke out.
Security was an option.
Exactly.
Security was an option.
Bring your own security. That's how we do it.
Oh.
He literally looked like he was not familiar.
I think he was Googling.
I Googled the gun photo. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that looks like
let's move to the jewel. And today's jewel is hydrating can help prevent constipation by keeping the digestive system functioning and smoothly. That's your jewel of the day.
Thank you, Yogi.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm inspired.
Okay. Yeah. Just don't get your water out of a plastic container.
Plastic bottle, exactly.
No microparticles in my penis. Thank you very much.
All about the jumbo plastic. All right, let's go.
All right, gentlemen, have a great week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the fun and the insight, and we will see you all again soon.
Enjoy your break.
Aloha.
Hala.